We're working today on some of the style of writing that you'll be doing this semester. Look on page 4 in your lab manual, unless your instructor has changed the pages. But we're going to be talking about how do we write, and really more broadly, how do we make a compelling argument. So one of the things that we do when we think critically and we work as scientists is any statement or claim that I make, we always have evidence to support it. And so one of the ways that you'll see this talked about in healthcare is they'll say evidence-based, whatever you're talking about. And this is also a big thing to keep an eye out for as you're reading the news with coronavirus developments right now. People make all kinds of statements and claims. We always want to be able to dig deeper in to find the evidence, and not just one piece of evidence, but a couple pieces of evidence, okay? Or more than that. A few thousand pieces of evidence. So to practice this kind of outside of science, we're going to go into the justice system, and this is all hypothetical, so made up story. But in a courtroom, you would never convict someone without evidence, right? Just like if you're on social media, you shouldn't believe something without evidence. But somehow that goes out the window on social media and in the news. And in a courtroom, we're like, of course, you need evidence. So we're going to practice finding some evidence here and evaluating it. So throughout the semester, at the end of your labs, you're going to make your claims, which are important, and then you're going to support them with evidence. So your task in a couple of minutes here is going to be to read through these crime scene notes. Okay, someone else has already collected some evidence for you. And you're going to make a claim about what happened here. And this will be your writing on the next page. Now, this is an incomplete set of data. We're just going to roll with it, play with it. It's good enough, okay? So I'm going to give you a little guidance. You don't need to ultimately be a true detective and solve this. But what happened here, as you read through this, there's a death. Mr. Xavier has died. And so I'm going to give you 3 options for what you think might have happened. Was he murdered? Did he die by an accident? Or are you unsure? There's been a lot of unsure as we've progressed through coronavirus right now, and that is sometimes actually the most critical thinking, the most truthful answer is we're not sure what happened. So do you think you can make a case that it was a murder or an accident, or that you're uncertain? No matter what you choose, you have to have evidence to support your decision. So you're going to read through this and be thinking about which one of these does the evidence seem to point to, okay? And this will be like what we do throughout the semester. We're going to make claims like we synthesized aspirin, and then we're going to have evidence, some masses, some percentages, some colors, and those would all be the evidence to support that claim. So you are going to read through the crime scene, figure out what's my claim, what happened, and then give some evidence for why you think that. So your work, what you'll be turning in is this page 5 here. The question is, what happened in the room that night? You're going to acquire some evidence. Actually, that's kind of what's been done for you already. And so now you're going to jump in here with this appraise, and we're going to do this same pattern all through the semester. Ask a question, acquire some data, appraise it. What's it worth? Is it valuable? So you will make your claim or statement. Again, choose, even if your case isn't quite perfect, was it a murder? Was it an accident? Or are you uncertain what happened that night? And you will state that as a claim or basically an answer to the question up here, okay? Then you're going to support your claim with evidence, a couple pieces of evidence. So let's just say that you say that Mr. Xavier was murdered, okay? Then you want to have evidence that supports that it was a murder, and not only evidence, but something else that we'll be doing is we'll have claims, we'll have evidence, and then make sure that you have a reason to say, okay, he was murdered. The evidence is that there was a bloody knife, and I think that the knife was the murder weapon, okay? So claim is that he was murdered, evidence is a bloody knife. The reason that all fits together is that I think that bloody knife was the murder weapon, okay? So a claim, evidence, reason, and then you'll give a second piece of evidence and a second reason again, the reason links the evidence back to that claim. All right. Now, if you are truly putting an effort and being a good scientist here, any good scientific article I've read related to coronavirus, they always have follow-up questions. And so you want to stretch yourself a little bit and say, you know, what else would I like to know? Okay, if I could go back into that room, what kind of follow-up questions would I have? And you should probably have a few of these, 2 or 3, okay? So can I go back in and find some more evidence or run some more tests on that evidence? You should, in this 3 little paragraph story here, find a lot of questions still remain unanswered. And that's how you should come to the end of our lab experiments in this class too, is like, wait, what about this? What about that? So you will complete your claim, picking one of those, evidence and a reason, and then have at least 3 follow-up questions. You'll be turning this in, and we will probably be discussing this in class also, so you can see what kind of ideas your community has come up with as far as claims. And when we discuss these things with a community, we're able to either strengthen our case or ask each other some hard questions and maybe make our case stronger, or go back and say, hey, I need to go collect more data. So we work on it individually, but then we'll bring it back as a community and make an even more powerful argument, and hopefully make our evidence even better. So that is your writing assignment, and be prepared to talk about that in class as well.